Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back to my latest entry here. For those who are new, I like to make these little videos about films that I've enjoyed and want to share, or ones that I've revisited, such as some franchise revisits like I did for Friday the 13th and Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street, in which there are cases where I'll make some videos about entries that maybe I didn't really enjoy as much. But if you like what you see here, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing and hitting that little bell icon to get notifications for when I put up new content, which is once or twice a week. I am trying to put up some more here and there. Stick around to the end and see if you can hop in during that first hour when these videos hit. That's what that notification is good for. It really does help out the channel quite a bit, as I've said many times in many of my videos, to subscribers who come back, watch this within that first hour, share it around, who really actually build this channel. Okay, now that all of that YouTube stuff is out of the way, for this video I did want to try to work in another Hammer film, but there's been just some crazy stuff this week, been sick off and on. So instead I'm doing one that I consider more of a feel-good movie in a way, which is for the 1984 film Night of the Comet, starring Catherine Mary Stewart, Kelly Maroney, and Robert Beltran. The synopsis for which is as follows. A comet wipes out most of life on Earth, leaving two valley girls fighting against cannibal zombies and a sinister group of scientists. You see, it's very feel-good, like something you might even see on Hallmark, perhaps. But yeah, this was basically a really interesting premise, I thought, since this story was, in this story, so much of life was kind of extinguished, but it didn't get everybody. So some people are just these piles of dust left over, while some survived. So some of them, they may be fine due to their circumstance, which they go into, or maybe they're infected by whatever happened and they're slowly kind of losing it, or they've just outright become these crazy, grotesque-looking zombies, just real violent creepers and everything. So, along with that, we have these scientists who are trying to get a handle on everything, but there's like some shady business happening with them and their tactics for what they need to do, such as getting blood samples from uninfected people, from infected people, and it really gets shady on how they are treating survivors that they found and what plans they have for them down the line. So along with those zombie creepers and those scientists, are some survivors that are just kind of like thugs in general, that now that half of the world has fallen apart, they're just running rampant, a little bit of that ultra violence and everything. But anyways, with all that, we have some survivors. So for, our main focus of this are the Valley Girls that they mentioned, played by Catherine Mary Stewart and Kelly Maroney, who play sisters, who due to the situation that they were in when this comet came, they survived, everything seems to be fine, and now they're just trying to deal with that aftermath. So I could compare it in some ways to like the first episode or two of Walking Dead that had a lot more to do with figuring out what happened and how they're going to survive going forward. Kind of coming across some of those mutant, creepy zombie-like guys, some of those gang members, all these violent leftovers. But so they have that stress of the situation, the stress, the violence, the horror, and so on. But also, they're Valley Girls at heart. So Valley Girls gonna Valley Girls. So of course, we get some of this like celebrating their freedom, scenes actually like going out, scouting out the town, checking out a radio station, and even hitting up a mall and just having free run of the place. But and during that is where they meet another character by the name of Hector, who's played by Robert Beltran, who you may recognize from Star Trek Voyager. I believe the character's name was Comet, who is honestly a good guy who's got their back, and he has his own things that he needs to check on with family and so forth. But yeah, so most of the threat for this situation is you got the mutant zombie leftovers, you got these rogue gang members who are out for that ultra-violence and slowly coming under the effect of whatever this comet brought, and the government, who is both trying to solve the situation while some of them are under those negative effects themselves. So who do they trust? Nobody, really. They can't trust anybody, only themselves. The three of them kind of figured out that they're all on the same wavelength and need to learn how to survive. So they have to, work their way around and through those situations to survive in what feels almost like a road movie in a way, though just going across town instead of focusing on going cross-country like in something such as Zombieland. But I remember seeing this movie when it first hit cable, maybe a year or two after, and this was around, I believe it was like a couple years later when Halley's Comet came around, and they'd already been talking about it for years, so we did get this comet craze starting to happen for a while there. but it also made it really interesting as a kid, you know, seeing this comet in the sky, hearing all this stuff on the news, and then finding this movie on cable that came out a few years earlier to check out. It really was a lot of fun, especially around that same time. We even had Maximum Overdrive, the Stephen King film with Emilio Estevez, who, and I believe in that one also was like they were in the tail of this comet that was causing these weird actions. So it kind of gave that extra connection to the film to have something happening in real life that could be parallel to, you know, something happening in the movie that's been turned into this crazy situation. But the last time I'd seen this one was probably 10 years ago, and for the most part I'd only really remembered a few scenes. You know, I'd seen it when I was a kid, and then 10 years ago, and I think I was drinking a lot back then. But anyway, so I decided to hop back in and check it out, and it was a nice little treat. You know, it was nice that afterward, you know, so nice that afterward I ended up queuing up another Kelly Maroney film, which was Chopping Mall. And it really made for a great double feature. Because honestly, if you just want like a fun 80s horror kind of evening, you know, films that you don't need to take too seriously, they're going to have some scares, but nothing over the top. There'll be some gore, but nothing over the top. Just something you can really enjoy. Make it a double feature night with Night of the Comet and Chopping Mall. They really can kind of lift those spirits when looking for something to check out, even though for a non-horror fan that may sound silly. But anyway, speaking of checking out, you know, thanks for checking out this latest video and sticking around to the end. Chopping Mall is currently on Shudder. Night of the Comet's been kind of shifting around. It was on Shudder briefly. I think now it's on either Roku, Tubi, Canopy, you know, a few others have it, you know, with ads for them. But it's a lot of fun to be that perfect balance of the threats, the jump scares, the violence, and the comedy worked into this, and a relatively interesting story. Anyways, thanks for coming by. Be sure to hit subscribe and hit that little bell icon. And you know, I do have some more Hammer films coming soon. I'm hoping to get one up this next week. I will probably do it earlier in the week instead of the Friday morning thing that I've usually been doing, but we'll see. Also, very soon I'm going to be kind of like what I did with Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, and to some extent the Halloween films, is revisiting the Scream franchise before Part 6 comes out. Some of those movies I hadn't seen since they were first in the theater, and of course the first Scream, I know it inside and out. I've seen it so many times. I love that film. So it's going to be interesting to revisit titles that I haven't seen in a long time, and even ones like Part 5, which I'd never seen, and then hopefully have all those videos lined up. So by the time Part 6 comes out, you get a nice little review / recommendation from me on that one. But anyways, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one.